English powerfully. Speaking English fluently in 6 months. Fluent in 6 months. Is it possible? Can you do it? Can you speak English fluently, powerfully, in 6 months? 6 months from today. And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. Absolutely, yes, you can. Let's talk about what this means to be fluent and how to do it. First, let's just talk about this word, fluent. Fluent in 6 months. Fluent. What does this word fluent mean? Fluent. Well, fluent has the same root as the word fluid. Fluent means flowing or moving like water. Okay, water-like movement, right? So if you think of water, think of a river or a stream. How does it move, right? It moves effortlessly. That's why I use the name effortless English. Water moves effortlessly and smoothly, right? That's how water flows or moves. So fluent or fluency, we're talking about a smooth movement. Now, if we're talking about English, what are we talking about? It's the smooth movement of words, of phrases, of sentences, of the language. It means you speak in a way that's fairly effortless and smooth. The opposite of fluent would be to speak like this and right? That's the opposite of fluent. It means the words are not coming out smoothly. They're not coming out easily. They're not coming out naturally, right? That's not fluent. So we're talking specifically about speaking. When we say fluent or fluency, we're talking about speaking and how the words come out. That's the meaning of fluency. That is the real meaning of fluency. So, flowing like water. I often try to use the phrase powerfully, speak powerfully. So again, you're confident when you speak. The words come out fairly easily. They flow out. This does not mean, let's talk about what fluency does not mean. It does not mean perfection, right? If you're fluent, you're conversationally fluent. It means you're fluent when you have a normal conversation. You're not perfect. You're not perfect. You will make mistakes. You'll make grammar mistakes. You might make some pronunciation mistakes. Hey, I make mistakes sometimes still. So you're going to make mistakes. It's not perfection. Number two, fluency does not mean like a native speaker. Okay? So when you speak fluently, it does not mean you speak at the same level as I do. I learned English from when I was a baby. So it does not mean like a native speaker. That's a much higher level of English speaking. That's very, very advanced. Okay? You don't need that advanced level to speak fluently, for your words to come out easily, for you to communicate effectively. Okay, fluency is sort of the first level of communicating effectively, powerfully. The words come out fairly easily. What else? Do you need a huge amount of vocabulary to speak fluently? No, you don't, because again, we're talking about conversational fluency. So when you are fluent, when you're conversationally fluent, what does it mean? It means you speak and communicate fairly easily, effectively, powerfully, in normal conversations, normal everyday conversations, normal everyday topics. So not talking about special topics like economics or business or something from, school. No, everyday, talking about the weather, talking about your feelings, how you feel, talking about what you did today or yesterday or what you're going to do tomorrow. Buying a train ticket, going shopping, those everyday normal conversations that we have. For that, you only need about 3,000 words of vocabulary. Some people say less, some people say a little more. I'll just give you the average, around 3,000 words. That's not a huge amount. It's not small, it's not tiny, but it's not huge. So if you can use 3,000 words fairly easily in natural phrases, you're fluent. You're conversationally fluent. Are you finished with English at that point? No, you're not. You still have a long way to go if you want to be like a native speaker, close to a native. But you can certainly be fluent in 6 months. So what it means is you speak powerfully, naturally, fairly smoothly, with mistakes. You will definitely be making mistakes still. After 6 months, don't worry about it. As long as people understand you, as long as you're communicating well, you're fluent. Let's talk about the next part of this. Fluent in 6 months. 6 months. What do we mean by that? 6 months. Well, honestly, if we talk about 6 months, it's not, talking about months is not really the best way to talk about time for your goal of speaking English in 6 months. Because you can imagine we have 2 students. One student only listens to English 1 hour per week, and the other one listens to English 10 hours per day. After 6 months, there's going to be a huge difference between these two. If someone only does 1 hour per week, they will not be fluent in 6 months. It's not enough time. Really, we should talk about hours rather than days or weeks or months or years. It's the hours, it's the number of hours you spend learning English that's important. So when we're talking about getting fluent in 6 months, there are 2 important things. There's quantity, it means the amount of hours especially. And there's quality. Quality, it's how you use those hours every day. Because how you learn is also very, very important. You could spend 5 hours a day learning English, but do it in a way that's not effective, low quality. So you need both quantity and quality to achieve this goal. Let's first talk about the quantity. How many hours do you need? How many hours do you need to become fluent, conversationally fluent? Well, it's different for every person. I can't give you an exact number. I'll give you a very general number, let's say about 700 hours. About 700 hours of quality, effective English learning, study, practice, training. About 700 hours. Now, for some people it will be more, it might be 1,000, and for some it might be less. So, we'll just say as a general average guess, about 700 hours. Now, here's some good news. You already have some hours, right? You probably learned English in school for many years. That was low quality. A lot of those hours were not very good. But still, it's better than nothing, okay? If you learned English for 5 years in school, you at least learned some vocabulary through memorization. Maybe you can't use it very effectively. Maybe your head is filled with grammar and you're confused. You're not fluent yet. But it's still better than 0, so you still have some hours already. That's good news. That will help you. It means you don't quite need 700, maybe you only need 500 to get fluency, which is great. Good news for you. The other part of this, that's quantity. That's the amount of hours you need in 6 months. The next part is quality. It's how you do it is very important. As I said, in school, low quality. You might learn English in school for 1,000 hours, but the problem is you're memorizing lists of vocabulary that you quickly forget. You're memorizing long lists of grammar that you can't use when you speak, too complicated, you forget. You're taking tests, you're stressed, you're bored. A lot of time in class, you're not really focused, you're kind of bored. When you're doing your homework, you're bored, you're half asleep. So you might have 1,000 hours in school, but it does not really equal 1,000 quality hours. And maybe it only equals about 100 hours, really, because it's so low quality. So you want to get the highest quality from every minute, from every hour that you learn English. That is what the Effortless English system does. So what do I mean by quality? Number 1, power, right? It means it's a powerful way to learn. It means you are focused. You are focused and concentrating every minute. So if you're listening to English, but you're kind of falling asleep, you're sitting at your desk, that's low quality. That's no good. You're wasting a lot of your time. You need to be, your brain needs to be awake. You need to be focused. You need to be listening carefully to every word, every phrase. That's the highest quality. Alert, awake, maximum concentration. It needs to be understandable. This is something else for quality English learning. You must understand it. If you don't understand it, you're wasting your time. So this is the problem if you're lower level and you listen to a movie or a TV show. You're wasting your time. It's too advanced. You can't understand anything. So most of your time is completely wasted. You watch 2 hours or an hour of TV, but really you're getting almost no quality English learning. So you must understand it. It can be a little difficult, but not too difficult. Very, very important. Understandable is super important. That's part of quality.